If you think that it's too late for you to do something, that your time has passed, F1 is the film for you. F1 was directed by Joseph Kosinski, and just for super quick synopsis, it is essentially about a kind of washed out rogue former Formula One driver played by Brad Pitt, who did his thing back in the day, talking about 30 years back, until he had a pretty debilitating accident that took him out of racing, and he was never able to become number one. So he's pretty bitter, he's pretty salty, and he clashes quite a bit with the new talent on the team. So this movie has Brad Pitt, of course, who is Sonny Hayes, Damson Idris, who's Joshua Pierce, Kerry Condon, and Javier Bardem. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but oh, I love Javier from Eat, Pray, Love. If you know, you know.
It's time.
So yeah, I just wanted to start off by, really highlighting the things that I absolutely loved about this film. I mean, I still have whiplash from the theater experience. It was really phenomenal because those cars were going so fast. Like, I don't know how I made it out of there, but I feel like I was in those cars. But one of the first things that popped out to me really was the score. And it's by Hans Zimmer. Surprise, surprise. It had amazing music soundtrack, an amazing score. And of course, yeah, if Hans Zimmer is behind it, you know that your soundtrack is going to be damn good. I felt that the movie was very contained. They just kept the focus there. So there wasn't too much going on. So it was very much intensely focused on the racing, on the Formula One. And the cast was fantastic. And two things I wanted to point out. As someone who knows nothing about racing, zero interest in Formula One, just think they did a really good job of making this appeal to even people who don't know anything about racing, who don't know anything about Formula One or cars, whatever. I really don't know, but I felt really connected. It felt really immersive. And even if you didn't know anything about it, you knew exactly what was going on. So that was great. Without giving away too much, obviously that third act and the last few scenes were just oh my goodness, incredible. Like, I was clenched. I just was so anxious, so nervous. And that was such an incredible series of scenes in that last part. And I just wanted to highlight as well that so this movie was directed by Joseph Kosinski, and I did a quick search. I have heard of him, but as I was watching, I was like, this is giving me Top Gun. And I looked it up, and yeah, Joseph Kosinski also did Top Gun as well. Top Gun Maverick, the 2022 Tom Cruise one, from the 2022 one. And I loved Top Gun. It was a phenomenal cinematic experience. One of my top 10, I think, favorite experiences in the cinema in like forever. And I was like, yeah, this is feeling like Top Gun quality. Top Gun Maverick. And surprise, surprise, this is the same director who directed Top Gun, Joseph Kosinski. So there we go. Yes, so those were the really great things about this film. Like I said, yeah, everything was really good. It flowed well. I mean, like Brad Pitt, literally, I think this movie was kind of a metaphor of him communicating that he still got it. And he really showed that he really does still have it. I mean, he's 61 years old, and I don't know who his plastic surgeon is. I have no idea. But that person is getting paid double time, okay? Because he looks incredible, and he really looked like he still got it. So that was yeah, that was really good to see. That was refreshing, and he was amazing, and yeah, it was really awesome. So I guess I'll talk a bit more about the themes of this film. And I think one of the themes that I really picked up from was very much about the old versus the new. So with Brad Pitt's characters, Sonny Hayes, who was racing and driving years ago, you know, back in the heyday when things were probably a bit different. Maybe safety was not such a big deal. The approach of things was very old school, very rogue, very put your head down and knuckle down. You know, that's kind of the attitude that he came in with versus the new way of doing things, which was a way of being very safety conscious in you know, in like the making of the cars and all of that stuff. And also, I think it was really synthesizing for us the clash of the old versus new, because in my mind, Sonny Hayes was just the older version, or rather, Joshua Pierce, who is Damson Idris's character, was just the younger version of Sonny Hayes. They were the same coin, and I think Josh probably saw what he was going to look like if he continued on his path. That he was probably going to be a Sonny Hayes 30 years down the road if he continued kind of having the attitude and behaving the way that he was behaving. So I think essentially they were actually a mirror to each other. Sonny and Josh, they were actually a mirror, and I think they were both learning from each other, from learning from the new versus the old as well. So I thought that was a really interesting theme. Yeah, I think my favorite theme though is what I mentioned before in the beginning of setting out to do the thing that you wanted to do. And the one thing that Sonny wanted to do was to obviously win a race as number one, to do the thing that he wanted to do. And we got beautiful scenes of a picture of him as a child with his father, I think, and they kept referring to that picture every time Sonny had quiet moments, and I guess he was reflecting on why he was doing what he was doing. And in my mind, it was actually about him reflecting on what the 10-year-old version of him would be thinking of this moment. I think he was doing all of this to make the 10-year-old version of him proud, you know? And I mean, he had obviously given up for a long time in doing this, and he obviously probably felt like he had no chance, that there was just no chance. He was never going to be given another chance to pursue this dream again, but fate and the universe opened up the doors for him to do it. And I absolutely love that he set out to do the thing that he wanted to do, regardless of the naysayers, right? And what an encouragement that is. So you know, without giving too much away, but you know what kind of movie this is, and even if you haven't seen it, you know exactly what's going to happen at the end. But he's the comeback king, essentially, and I absolutely love that. I think it's so awesome, so encouraging. Like I said at the beginning, if you really need a pick-me-up, if you really need some encouragement, if you're feeling really downtrodden and you feel that you are silly and you look ridiculous, really watch this and just really take this to heart. Yeah, I have to say as well that for all the advertising this film did, I feel like I was getting exposed to marketing of this film for the last year. That's how it feels. It felt every time I've been to the movies, they've been advertising this movie. It's been absolutely everywhere. I cannot imagine the budget. I don't know what the budget was, but I mean, the budget would have been massive. Probably half of it just going to pay Brad Pitt and his plastic surgery and his abs, just saying. And it felt like the other half went to marketing. So I have to say, I kind of then decided to go and see it. so I can continue making awesome reviews here. But I kind of was just like, I really need to see the fuss of this movie because they have shoved it down our throats for the last year by force. So I'm pleased to announce that it was worth it, okay? So it's not a disappointment. So yeah. But that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, it was really awesome. Go and watch it. It's gonna be a great time. And yeah, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have anything to say, yeah, let me know what you think, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.